Everybody Hates Rand is a Wheel of Time podcast that will contain spoilers for all 14 books. So if you're anti-spoiler, stop this, read all 14 books, and come back. We'll be here, waiting.
Our title is a joke and is meant to be taken as such. Everybody in this context refers to us and our cats. You are free to feel however you want about Rand. He's a fictional character. Please don't DM us.
The world is a mess, Dark One stretching out his hand. The dragon's reborn, the fire's been fanned, but everybody hates Rand. Everybody hates Rand. Everybody hates Rand.
Boy, it really is so.
I know, it's like it's like a sinkhole.
Our cats are like a invasive species on this couch specifically. I don't remember what I read.
Me either,
It was a
man.
week ago, so.
Yeah, everybody, welcome back. Thanks for hanging in there with us during our mystery surprise off week because of my illness.
Her ailments.
My ailments.
Her Victorian
It really
devastation.
feels like a Victorian devastation.
I know, I don't know. Any moment now she'll be coughing blood into a handkerchief.
It's probably true. I'm sick.
Yeah, but like delicately, like Moulin Rouge.
But we're back. I apologize for any weird voice sounds and any coughing that you hear.
We'll try to catch any coughing in the editing process. This is Everybody Hates Rand, your friendly neighborhood wheelie time podcast. I'm Emily Jushaw.
And I'm Sally Goodger.
Sicky Goodger.
This weekend, Emily was so mean to me. I felt so sick on Friday, and I had the day off work, and I was just, like, so fatigued, and I was talking in this, like, pathetic, like, I don't know what to... Like, I did not feel good, and we were ordering food, and I couldn't decide what I want, and I was like, what should we get? And she's like, whatever you want, sickie!
I feel like my tone is being misrepresented here.
It was more mocking than aggressive like that. So you're right, I didn't quite present the mise en scène.
Good vocab pull there. Sally's in for a rude awakening in about 5 months when she goes on a trip to Greece with my entire family and realizes we're all that terrible and mean to each other all the time.
It's one of the many things I worry about with traveling with your family.
Oh, they won't be mean to you.
No, I'm not worried that they'll be mean to me. Your family is always really lovely to me. It's just like a tone I don't really know how to interact with.
Yeah, it's tough.
Like I'm generally, my family is just generally very polite to each other.
Yeah.
You know?
It's
just
equally alien to me to be around Sally's family.
Sometimes we're mean
In
to
my
each other,
family,
but...
we just ruthlessly mock each other, so.
Yeah, no, it'll be fun.
Okay, so, Knife of Dreams. I almost said Crossroads of Twilight.
Whatever it is.
The first 3 chapters
Riddles 3.
Yeah, our Riddles 3 of Knife of Dreams are 3 disparate point of views. You know, we're not getting into our main chunks, as unfortunately Robert Jordan has chosen to put these last few books into big point of view chunks of the same major characters. So we get Swan, what's her name? Bayanin / Aleda in the 2nd chapter, and then Arengar in the 3rd chapter, which is as gross as you are expecting it to be. So, trigger warning in this episode for talk about transphobia, among other things.
Yeah.
None of these are particularly fun or interesting points of view or characters, so it's just a little tough to get through. We're also not getting too many, major revelations. It is kind of nice to see what Egg wanted to happen in her last point of view happening, in that Swan wakes up having received her message about being alive, not wanting to change the strategy at this severe time.
Yeah, it's like one instance where Robert Jordan, has the right pacing, Like, I feel like in normal Robert Jordan world, Egg would be like, I'm going to do this thing, and then we would see the scene, and then we would see Swan reacting to the thing, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like for once it's just like we know what Egg is telling Swan, we don't need the whole dream sequence.
Yeah, we
Swan
get to
wakes
skip
up,
over that, yeah.
and it's just like, I'm diving right in, I don't need to, like, talk about it at length.
Yeah, so Swan gets to then start delivering the message to various people, and we get to start seeing the Aes Sedai, the rebel Aes Sedai, reacting to the news that Edwin is alive and does not want any rescue attempts and wants them to carry on as they have been doing. So if you were, like, stressed about that because of Egg getting locked up, like your main concern was what will happen to the rebel Aes Sedai, then here is the answer for you. We get a small plot twist in finding out that Bayanin has been allied with Aleda this entire time, though not very helpfully. We are led to believe that Bayanin was, like, sent to Salidar and then hasn't been in contact with Aleda since.
Yeah.
Bayanin also takes sweeping credit for things that I just assumed would have happened naturally, you know, like the various bureaucratic delays for the Salidar Rebel Aes Sedai, all of their sort of misfortunes, and it's like, those were all just sort of everyone being stupid. Yeah, I don't think you really had your hands on the wheel there, Bayanin.
Yeah, you're not in charge of the weather. She's
Yeah.
like, it took so long to get there, or whatever she says. It's like, that was the snow, bitch.
Yeah, girl.
Can't remember exactly
But
what
she's
she
like,
says, but...
Aleda, be nice to me. And Aleda's like, yeah, whatever. Teach me how to travel.
Yeah, which is the worst news. Aleda having traveling is just like a big downer for the rebellion. Like,
yeah,
it was kind of one
now,
of the big trump cards they held in this little Cold War.
Yeah, now the White Tower can receive supplies the same way that other besieged characters such as Elaine are being able to receive supplies via traveling.
Absolutely.
So sort of nullifies the power of the siege. And then we get a little sequence with all of the Forsaken just sort of chatting about their nefarious plans, including the iconic moment where Moradin apparently for the first time shows the rest of the Forsaken mugshots of Matt and Perrin and says, now you can kill these motherfuckers anytime you like. Save Randall Thor for me. Classic bad guy hubris, by the way, saying save so-and-so for me.
Yeah.
Stupid. Why do you care?
If they're dead, they're dead.
If they're dead, they're dead.
Doesn't matter who killed them, homie.
Yeah, it's just, what's it matter, bro? But anyway, he's like, this is what these two look like, and you can totally kill them. And Samuraj is like, oh my fucking god.
If you would have told me this 1 week earlier,
then one or both of them would be dead.
Yeah. Like,
why can you not?
Can't you do anything right, Moradin?
I know, the management in Forsaken LLC is...
Forsaken LLC. Yeah, like...
Oh, hi, Ed.
It really is some bad management going on there. But Samraj was like, I was literally in the room with that man. Several times.
Multiple times, actually. And now I won't be for ever, so...
Yeah.
Missed ops there, Moradin.
Missed ops. Also, here's Ed again, sort of loudly purring.
Yeah,
so if you hear a soft rumbling in the background, that is not an audio failure. That is just Ed.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else it could be. The humming of a helicopter some miles away. That's just hovering, I guess, not going further.
Just sort of...
We do occasionally get aircraft flying quite close above. There's an airport.
There's an Air Force base up north and an airport pretty close to us, and there are big hospitals that sometimes get life flights. So we've got a pretty busy air space above us, actually.
Yeah, if someone wants to buy the air over our town in Utah.
Don't give Elon Musk any ideas.
Yeah, you're so right. What else can that man, Ed? Do the fucking limbo. There you go.
Do limbo, how low can you go?
So that's an overview of the 3 chapters. I don't know how many details are necessary for those. We're sort of just getting par for the course for these people.
Yeah, like in Swan's point of view, Lelaine is like, I want to usurp the Amerlin's seat when Egg inevitably dies or whatever,
Yeah.
you know, and then Ramonda is implied she wants to do the same thing, and it's like, that's been a plot point for forever, like...
Yeah, Robert Jordan is trying to be like, there are stakes if Egg fails, and it's like, yeah, there kind of were already.
Yeah, like, it's kind of been implied that either of these women could usurp her if something went really wrong at any point, you know?
Yeah, I
So-
don't assume that Lelaine and Ramonda are going to be on their best behavior while the Amerlin seat is in absentia, you know, like, it's all sort of implied, so... Robert Jordan gets 1 point for solid pacing, and then immediately that point is deducted for bad pacing, so... You win some, you lose some. We get the usual stuff with Swan, her relationship with Gareth Bryn, who at least is off screen, but, you know, we get a lot of Swan being in his tent for some reason.
Yeah, I never figured that out. Like, is
She's
she
just sleeping
there?
there. I was thinking about it as I was reading it, and I was like, Robert Jordan has really captured here the essence of a 13-year-old girl having a crush.
Yeah.
And it's pretty unfortunate because Swan is a woman in her at least 50s.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know what that says about what Robert Jordan thinks is, A, funny, probably the best option.
Yeah.
Real women, adult women think like, ooh. Or if he just thinks that's what relationships are supposed to be, because in fairness, most of the men in this series also act as though they're in sort of middle school relationships, down to the pigtail tugging.
Yeah.
But, like, Swan wants to be near Gareth, but is going to be mad about it. She's not going to be honest with herself or anyone else about it. She constantly wants to see him. She's constantly provoking him, getting into needless fights with him. And it's like she seems like this person who's just desperate for any sort of male attention from the guy she likes.
Yeah.
It's a very, you know, sort of Carrie Bradshaw type of behavior, which, as we have said multiple times before, Robert Jordan does seem to sort of draw his insights into the female psyche from Sex and the City specifically.
Yeah.
Which is not a realistic depiction of any live woman.
Yeah, also that show is predominantly written by men.
Yes.
That's a fun Sex and the City fact. If you watch the credits each episode, it's like written by Darren Star, who's like the showrunner or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like so much of what like Sex and the City is like such a huge thing in the cultural zeitgeist about like women and their relationships and their sex lives. And a lot of that mythos was constructed by men and how they perceive women. And it's like glaringly obvious if you, a woman, watch Sex and the City, you know, like so often I'll be sitting there and being like, none of my female friends have ever said anything close to this to me in my entire life. Just like the way they talk in general or specifically about their relationships, you know?
Yeah. Or like, if my female friends were behaving like this, they would not be my female friends for long.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, like we recently watched an episode where it's like, not to get into the weeds, we'll do our Sex and the City podcast once we finish EHR, but like Carrie's told all of her friends that she's having an affair with her ex who is married and she's cheating on her current partner, and she's like, isn't it great to have friends who judge you no matter what? And it's like, a good friend would judge you and tell you that you are behaving badly.
Yeah. Charlotte is the only good friend in that episode.
Yeah. So it's just like that type of misalignment of female desire and relationships in general, like, but with their friends or romantically. And I think talking about it in the terms of like a middle school setting is really helpful, because so much of what comes out in the relationships is Wheel of Time is everyone just being like embarrassed that they have romantic and sexual feelings.
Yeah.
You know?
Everyone's like ashamed to be sexual beings.
Yeah.
Or they're way too unashamed.
Or they're barreling.
Or they're barreling and could use a healthy dose of shame.
Like a much healthier dose of shame there to just take some off of Swan Sanche and put a little sprinkling on Berlane would be nice. But yeah, they're just like, and like obviously they're sort of presenting a puritanical society, so it's like true to form, and Robert Jordan probably was writing from a very like puritanical, like I mean that in sort of like a general adjective way, not that Robert Jordan was himself a Puritan.
Yeah, who God only knows.
But just this idea that, like, sex is a bad thing.
Yeah.
Fundamentally. But, like, so much of this puritanical, shameful attitude of just being like, I can't believe that I have romantic and sexual feelings for anybody results in these scenes that are just, like, insufferable to read. Like, at least Bearlane is, like, horny. And that's just, she's like, this is just me.
Yeah, and it really speaks to, like, the fact that Robert Jordan is treating these things like foreplay rather than, like, I don't know. What I mean by that is that when these things are happening, it's in relationships that are given endgame.
Yeah.
These are things that are definitely going to happen. There's never any real question that Swan and Gareth Bryn are going to end up together. That has been very much alluded to and pointed to throughout the series.
Sure.
And so you reach a point as a reader where you're like, God, will they just get together already?
Yes.
And Robert Jordan keeps drawing out the will they, won't they, as though, you know, we are too stupid to see where this is going, or because he hasn't reached the right narrative point for it yet. And once more, this is a failing of being in a 14-book series where everything is drawn out in an unholy sort of way. And also, it's just further indication of this sort of sitcom thinking.
Yeah.
You know, we just have to manufacture drama in the relationship in order to keep people coming back for more. And it's like, never in my life do I want to keep coming back for more Swan Sanche and Gareth Bryn.
Yeah.
Every time I'm reading their point of view, I begin fantasizing about what death must be like.
No, it's so true. I also think, like, and this is this thought might take me a minute to stumble through, so bear with me here. I also think, like, the concept of foreplay is also, like, hits here because, like, it just, like, reads like if we were just reading, like, a normal, a sexual encounter with Swan and Gareth Bryn beginning to end. It might start with them, like, teasing or fighting or whatever is, you know, appropriate for their relationship. Then they would have sex, it would be over, and then they would have a life outside of that dynamic that's, like, their relationship and the way that they interact with each other. But that's, like, never brought into it. It's just, like, how do we keep our relationship quote-unquote romantic and flirtatious 100% of the time? And for Robert Jordan, I guess that means people fighting, you know? But it's, like, very much feels like this just, like, drawn-out way to make it a, like, relationship, capital RTM, rather than just, like, sometimes people don't have any particular feelings towards one another throughout the day. They're just in the same tent.
Yeah. You don't even need to be in the same tent also, though.
Yeah.
Swan, you can be on your own.
Yeah.
God.
It just feels weird. It feels like everything has to be this drawn-out sexual joke.
Yeah. It sure does.
And I'm like, it's not funny, first of all.
Yeah, it feels like sometimes reading these books, I feel like I am in a medieval court watching a jester go through a terrible stand-up comedy routine.
Yeah.
And everyone around me is laughing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
What?
Is something wrong with me that I don't get it?
Yeah, I feel you.
What's the deal here?
Yeah.
You know?
Why is everybody laughing at this locker room humor?
It's because I'm a time traveler in this medieval court, you know?
Sure.
These things may not have been funny 400 years ago.
Back when the Wheel of Time should have been written.
They weren't funny in the 90s, and they're not funny now. We also get a whole lot of Swan is bad at riding horses humor, which isn't funny. Just continues to not be funny.
Like, at some point you just develop the skill, right?
Yeah, at some point, like, you get okay at riding horses. You might go your whole life being like, I'm not very comfortable on horses, but at a certain point you'll be like, I know how to work a horse.
Yeah. Like,
it's a simple machine.
Yeah, somebody who has ridden horses only a couple times in their life, yeah, I don't feel, like, confident that if I had to, like, run a horse or, like, gallop, that I would feel very safe. But I can get on a horse and make it go in a direction.
Sure
it's
can.
Not rocket science.
I can make it stop. I can make it go. Boy.
I can turn it left and right, and I can turn it around.
Yep.
Those are basic commands from me to another living being that only took me, a 10-year-old, the first time I got on a horse, like 5 minutes to figure out.
And presumably Swan Sanjay has spent more time on a horse than us.
Yeah.
Actually, I took horseback riding lessons when I was a little kid.
That's so charming.
I don't think I wanted to. My mom just had a phase where to get us out of the house, she sent us to various lessons.
Activities, yeah.
Specifically taught by our neighbors, and one of them was horseback riding lessons. And anyway, I took both horseback riding lessons and, fun fact, was bitten by a horse as a child. And I still am fine with horses, so get over it, Swan. Anyway, Swan then breaks the news to the Egg's, biggest supporters who
cabinet.
are... her cabinet, who are more or less her cabinet because she's blackmailed them into it, so that's great. And is like, yeah, Egg just, A, is in the tower, they're not gonna execute her. And B, she does not want to be rescued. Notably throughout this, no one talks or asks about Leanne, which I just think is kind of sad, because, Swan is kind of her friend, so, shouldn't someone care?
Shouldn't someone be like, is Leanne okay?
And they're just like, no. But anyway, all these women are like, oh, no, we should, mount a rescue immediately, and Swan's like, no. Egg really doesn't want us to do it because she's convinced that it would... create bloodshed, and the last thing we want is bloodshed. The White Tower will never be whole, and maybe she can do something from inside. So we've just got to keep doing our business. Which is when Lelaine enters and is like, I want power. And also I kidnapped, what's her name?
Oh, Fowlane or
Fowlane, yeah.
Fowlane, whichever one it is. Where,
It's
2
Fowlane.
episodes ago, we were like, is she dead?
Yeah, literally. In the timeline of EHR, we were like, hey, where's she at? And why does no one care that she's literally missing?
Yeah.
Egg is like, she's missing. And then we don't hear about that again. But, Lelaine's like, yeah, I've had her in seclusion, which presumably means a prison tent of some kind.
It's got her in a chest somewhere.
Ugh, terrible. The Randall Thor experience in 3D.
Ugh, gosh, yeah, is Fowlane okay?
Who knows? I don't know if we ever see her again.
Well, and then Lelaine killed her, and Swan knows this and is complicit in her murder.
And also doesn't care. Swan's just like, I didn't like that girl anyway, and moves on with her life. We then move on to Bayanin, who wakes up, makes for a normal day, is consulted about the murders that are taking place in the camp, and it's sort of like a true crime episode where they're all talking like they're very authoritative sources about, psychology and criminology and forensics, etc., and it's just like, none of you are professionals, and even the professionals don't really know shit, so...
Yeah. It is very much like the beginning of, a fucking NCIS episode.
Yeah. Where they're just, standing around chatting about these horrific murders, and are like, well... given, da-da-da-da-da, and it's like, that's not true.
Yeah.
As we know, so...
And that's the other thing that's so frustrating, Bayanin is like, you need to find out what connected the 2 women, the only similarity between them is that they're, blue washer or whatever, and it's like, we, the reader, know that is patently untrue. It has to do with how they're doing different things in the camp that are against what Halima wants them to do.
Yeah, so, or maybe just Halima felt like murdering someone.
Yeah, or Halima is just a murderer who felt like murdering people. So it's just, frustrating at this point to be like, we have enough of an answer. We know it's Halima. We don't even really need to know why, because the Forsaken never give us reasons for why they do things. So it's just another instance of being like, I don't want to read about something I already know about, and people being wrong about it.
Yeah, given it would be weird if no one in this camp was conducting any sort of investigation, but, I don't need to read about the investigation.
Yeah.
It's nice enough if you tell me there's an investigation and I'll assume that they're going in the wrong direction, because who could predict a woman who can channel the male half of the power?
Yeah.
That's very, Sherlock Holmes-ish.
Yeah.
If the least likely thing is whatever. Can't remember how that line goes.
If everything else is impossible... I don't remember.
The improbable thing must be true. I don't know. Yeah. So, we can assume that people investigating aren't going to get anywhere. But Bayanin collects her warder, They travel onto the grounds of the White Tower. Her warder's like, what? Because apparently he doesn't know what the fuck's going on. And Bannon's like, just go about your business, Greg, or whatever his name is. And he's like, okay. And then she goes up to find Aleda, who is at that moment in a meeting with her new keeper, Tarna, and they're just chatting about, dumb logistics in the White Tower stuff. I don't know. I can't remember.
Know.
Nothing important.
Tower business.
At which point Bannon comes in, and Aleda's like, oh, Bannon, where the fuck have you been? And Bannon's like, well, spreading chaos, let the Lord of Chaos rule. And Aleda's like, no, you haven't. That was just them.
Yeah.
I don't know if you didn't do anything. And Bannon's like, why does everyone fucking hate each other? And Aleda's like, well, it's not my fault, I'll tell you that much. And Bannon's like, isn't it?
It probably is.
It probably has something to do with you since you're in charge here.
But it is mainly Alviren who is
puppeted that whole schism.
But Aleda is not without blame in any of this.
And anyway, Bannon's like, the good news is that I have some sick new weaves, including traveling. And Aleda's like, well, obviously I must regulate the knowledge of these weaves highly because that won't make any enemies for me. But da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, show me how to travel and how to do their stuff. So now Aleda has traveling, and that's where we end that.
Yeah.
And Bannon was a traitor all along. And I think also, interestingly, has just, like, completely given up on the idea of her having an inn in the rebel camp, you know?
Yeah.
Like, now she's just back at the White Tower.
Yeah, she just, like, fucked off.
Yeah, she's gonna be seen by Egg at some point, I assume.
And Egg's gonna be like,
well, great. And it's like, okay.
Smack you. Okay. Smack.
We then switch over to Arengar, who's at this dumb meeting in some sort of garden, or like a fake garden. It's like some sort of virtual reality room.
I know, they're having their Ready Player One moment.
The Forsaken are always meeting in the dumbest places.
Like, just meet at the, I don't know, go to your co-working space.
Yeah, God, rent some office space.
You guys are getting ridiculous.
Or go to a Chili's or something like normal people do.
Yeah, I'm meeting at Starbucks. I have a walking meeting, as my boss always wants to do.
Terrible. But Arengar shows up and immediately is like, well, it's weird and sad that Samaraj Masana and Demandrid sort of have like a thing going on. You know, they're clearly in an alliance. Osingar, aka Dashiva, has not made an appearance since the big fight outside of Shadar Lagoth. She's like, I don't know where he is. Maybe he's dead. Maybe he's in hiding. And it's like, probably dead.
He's probably dead. Probably got murdered.
And Graendal is just sort of awkwardly off on her own. And Arengar's like, well, since the other three have an alliance, I should make an alliance with Graendal. And I'm going to do that by sexually manipulating her or something. And Grendal's like, you would sexually manipulate me, the sexual manipulator 3000.
Yeah.
Mach 2.
Yeah, Mach 2.
How dare you? How dare you presume?
Yeah, iOS 47.
But they start this sort of cat and mouse encounter that is Robert Jordan's, I guess, idea of lesbians. But also his very telling ideas of, as we've discussed, Robert Jordan seems to consider Arengar a transgender woman.
Yeah.
Even though patently she is not. But this then tells us what he thinks about transgender women, including the fact that they are all secretly predators in the vein of, you know, what TERFs like to call men using women's bodies in order to get closer to women. So Arengar Clear is really just a pervy man who's trying to get in Grendal's pants.
Yeah.
And will do that by manipulating the titillating interest in a lesbian love affair. And it's like, dude, You and J.K. Rowling would have got along, I guess.
I know.
I guess you will in hell.
Yeah, if he were still alive, one wonders what his response would be to the whole...
Oh, God. Can you
Harry
imagine
Potter
Robert
feels-
Jordan having a Twitter?
Yeah.
It's like the nightmare fuel.
Yeah. One would hope that he just would be, like, on there, but never tweeting. But who knows? Who knows what he would do? Can count our blessings that he doesn't have a Twitter. I just, like, don't even know what to say about it at this point. I don't think there's anything else to say. I don't know how much value there is to, like, keep talking about it, but there's also a danger of just, like, not talking about it. Like, it's easy to write it off as a small thing because it is one character who has really, in comparison, not very many scenes and very many points of view throughout the whole book, but it is so egregious and so transphobic and so harmful for people to read this and be like, this is validating of all the things I already believe about trans people, or perhaps this is their first encounter of somebody presented as a trans character, and this is going to just, like, keep building off of or lay the foundation for really harmful beliefs. And, like, I'm sure we've said this type of stuff on the podcast before, but, like, the things that we see in media matter because they impact how we see the world, and how we see the world impacts the way we treat other people and act out in the world. So, like, it is not a joke to present a character like this, to present a trans character as a joke, as someone who is a predator, as someone who is just, like, has this egregious sexuality, and that's the only thing that motivates them. Like, it's not a joke, it's not funny, it has real world consequences, and you shouldn't fucking do it. And rant.
Bang, bang.
Like, it just makes me so mad every time I think about it. Like, I can't, like, I know we are lucky now to live in a reality where there are many wonderful trans stories by trans people themselves, by people who love trans people and are writing about them with that love and care. But there are also still things like this, and there are still people like J.K. Rowling doing this type of stuff, and it just makes me fucking furious.
Yeah.
Like, trans people are dying, trans children are committing suicide because of shit like this.
Use your platform correctly.
Yeah. It just... That is my rant. Fuck you, Robert Jordan. Fuck you, Robert Jordan's editors, for letting this slide. And fuck you to anyone who's ever said they have any interest in Halima or find her funny. So, okay. End of rant.
I'm trying to remember if anything fucking happens. Just Morden sweeps in, does a little dramatic gay entrance, is flanked by his two female enslaved
Prisoners,
people.
yeah.
Moghedien and Sindane, and Arangar's like, yeah, Sindane's definitely Lanfear, and I don't know what he holds over them, but clearly something, because he's put them in fucking matching maid uniforms or whatever.
I've got cat ears on or whatever.
Ew. What if they looked like Jesse and James from Team Rocket?
He's dressed up like Meowth.
Yeah.
He's got this big gold choker on.
He would. A stupid, stupid man.
He is a stupid, stupid man.
Anyway, yeah, he shows up and is like, everyone, hi.
Hi, it's me, Morden.
Hi, it's me, I don't
Welcome to my meeting.
I don't remember the contents of this meeting. He's basically like, Moghedien, shut up, you're in a lot of trouble still because you didn't show up to Shadar Lakoth like you were supposed to. Randall Thor is on my personal hit list, and everyone's like, alright, we're ignoring that. We will kill him if we get to him first, blah, blah, blah. And also, you can totally add these names to your hit list, and everyone's like, who? We've never heard of them.
Who is Perrine Abra? Who is this?
I've never heard of her. I don't know her. And just, like, you know, that's it. He's like, everyone just get ready. We're fucking getting ready. And I'm like, you guys have been getting fucking ready for the last 8 books.
Getting ready for what?
Yeah.
Bitch.
Who knows? Oh, he tells us, or someone tells us, that, like, maybe Samael is back.
Oh, yeah. This is so funny.
Because someone sent all of the, like, a ton of Trollocs and Murdril through the ways. And, like, maybe it was Samael.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, but that doesn't seem right. I feel like he's super fucking dead. And he's like, well, no one else would be that stupid. And this is a question that I don't know if it ever gets answered.
Who did it?
Like, transparently, it was Robert Jordan trying to add some mystery, like maybe Samael's still out there, as though Samael wasn't the least threatening of the Forsaken, you know? Just a dude.
Yeah, just some guy.
Just some guy having insecurity problems and taking them out on a global scale. You know, classic Napoleon shit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, presumably it was one of the other Forsaken, you know, dressed up to look like Samael or create some confusion, but
yeah,
God only knows.
Yeah, I also think it's really funny to be like, if I have to pick one of the dead Forsaken to masquerade as, you had so many options.
I know. Why is Samael?
Why would, like, Asmodine is right there.
Yeah.
I mean...
They've all stopped talking about Asmodine.
I know, they're like, who?
Not that they ever did, I mean, but, like, really there aren't that many dead Forsaken, you know, because they've all been fucking resurrected.
Fair enough.
The only ones who they know for sure are dead are Belal and Ravin, who they've witnessed being bale-fired. Asmodean is the only other big, like, question mark, because Graendal killed him, but did she, like, tell the others? Like, did she send out a newsletter? Like, I took care of the Asmodean problem?
Like one of those Christmas letters that's like, dear friends and family.
Her posed next to Asmodean's dead body.
It was such a great year at the Graendal house! ! We have so many fun things to share from our adventures. First, in January, I killed our coworker Asmodean. This was such a fun accomplishment for me. It was years in the making.
Stupid. I wanted to kill that motherfucker for years, because he's sexier than me.
Yeah.
And can carry a tune, and I hate that. You just know Asmodean was the coworker at the Christmas parties, karaokeing.
Yeah, and, like, giving it his all. Like, he's...
I don't wanna...
The person who is like, this is my Oscar-worthy performance at the karaoke bar where everyone is drunk.
And everyone fucking hated him.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe they just were like, who cares where Asmodean is? He annoyed us all too much. But then, Samael didn't annoy you as much as him?
Yeah, like, come on.
Terrible. But it is a pretty hilarious read on Samael that they're like, oh yeah, this is one of his moves, TM. Send an army through the ways.
To where? Who knows? Why? Who knows?
But this is also, you know, a plot device to make us nervous about some some, you know, people popping out of the ways at some point.
Yeah.
I guess.
I also just feel like if I were Robert Jordan plucking through my dead, or assumed to be dead, bad guys, I wouldn't want to resurrect Samael either, even as like as a red herring. You know, like, Asmodean, it feels like his death is much more inconclusive.
Yeah.
Like, Samael is dead. We all know this. He got eaten by the fog.
Yeah.
Who knows what happened to Asmodine? I feel like it's a smarter choice to pick. Oh, that's a fire truck. I thought that was someone screaming.
Oh.
Whatever. This is a dumb thing to get held up on. It's just silly.
Well, but we're in Knife of Dreams. There's nothing but dumb things to get hung up on, you know?
Fair.
We've already talked about everything that's worth talking about at any length, so now it's just picking up plot points, like your grandmother's doilies. So that's that. That's the first 3 chapters of A Knife of Dreams. And so the next thing that's going to happen is we're going to hop over to Perrin, which is equally disappointing because we have to deal with him making his deal with the Shanchin.
Grody.
But that's what's on the docket. So, thanks for listening. Thanks to Glenna McKenzie for our theme song. Thanks to our patrons on Patreon and our followers on social media. Thanks to you for allowing us to have a break while Sally got her voice and energy back.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything else to add?
I don't think so.
Do you have a sign off besides me calling you a sickie multiple times?
Rude, she's bullying me. No, my sign off is that when I visited some family up in Washington a couple weeks ago, and my sister-in-law got this new game for her birthday that's like basically tic-tac-toe. Legitimately nobody could beat my 6-year-old niece. She is like some sort of strategic genius. Like my mom,
Master.
my dad, and myself were sitting there, and we're all three like very intelligent people. Like my mom's got her master's, she's an RN, my dad's an MD, I have a podcast. And my 6-year-old niece was like whooping our ass. So we all left feeling humiliated and embarrassed.
That's what they mean by beginner's luck.
Yeah.
She's just beginning in life.
No, I think she's just like freakishly smart and is gonna take
Also
over
possible.
the world.
If any of our nieces or nephews are destined for world domination, Liz is
up
definitely
there.
on the top of the
Yeah.
list.
And then she would bully me about it. She'd be like, "You're not very good at this." And I'd be like, "You're right, I guess."
God, it's brutal out here.
God, the 6-year-olds are beating me up.
All right, everyone, have a good week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.